Welcome dear grade 12 students to this video, which is about the final revision of writing. In this video we are going to consolidate or review 4 writing tasks: informal email, a cover letter or a letter of application, personal narrative, and an advantages and disadvantages essay. Let's begin with reviewing writing an informal email. In the practice test that you have recently received, you will find this question in the writing section. It reads, write an informal email to your English friend Kelly describing a cultural event that you have recently attended, and your name is S. Saleh. First, you can begin with underlining the key words and phrases which are the informal email. So you are going to write an informal email and your friend is Kelly, so you're going to say, Dear Kelly. Then you are going to describe a cultural event. This is the content of your writing. Describe a cultural event, nothing else. And when you sign off, you write your name, which is S. Saleh. Don't use any other name. Okay? Let's take this quick reminder of how to write an informal email. Indeed, you will begin with informal greeting and end it with informal ending. This is called informal salutation. You can use informal language, can use short forms, exclamation marks, direct questions, informal expressions like you see, well, actually, etc. But your grammar and spelling conventions should be correct, should be standard. So you can't use chatty language like wanna or could you later or something. This is a reminder also of some cultural events in Qatar. You can use one of them and try to write your own informal email. Okay, Aspire International Kite Festival, Shahaniya Camel Racing, Qatar International Art Festival, Ajyal Film Festival, Qatar Traditional Dao Festival, Doha Cultural Festival, Eid al-Fitr. Even if Eid al-Fitr is a religious occasion, but the idea of how people celebrate this occasion, I mean the cultural background about this religious occasion, is something that has to do with culture. So it can be considered a cultural event. Last but not least, Qatar International Food Festival. Okay. Dear students, I'm sure that all of you target the full mark in writing. But to take full mark in writing, there are certain criteria you have to follow or to apply. First of all, the content of your writing. The content should be clear and relevant to the task. You are given 4 tasks in the practice test. First one is to describe a cultural event. The second one is to apply for the job of a graphic designer. The third one is to write about the advantages and disadvantages of travel during summer. The fourth one is to write a personal narrative about a decision you have taken. Your content should be directly related to the task. If the job is a graphic designer, then it's very clear that you are neither a doctor nor a photographer. Write according to the task you are required to write about. Okay? Second, the organization. Organization of your essay means the layout, the paragraphing. Paragraphing should be suitable to the task you are writing. For example, if you are writing an informal email to a friend, you can choose to write 3 paragraphs. In the first one, you are going to greet your friend and mention the reason for writing, and then you are going to mention the name of the event you are going to describe. In the second paragraph, you give all details about this event. In the third paragraph, you're going to write about your feeling and your general impression about this event. with a closing sentence, and then you sign off. If you are going to write about the pros and cons of something, you can choose to write 4 paragraphs. Introduction, all pros in a paragraph, all cons in another paragraph, and then a conclusion, etc. This is called organization or layout of your essay. Concerning the cohesion, is tying all paragraphs, sentences, and phrases to create an essay that flows logically. You create unity and harmony between all the parts of your essay. Number 4 is the sentence structure, which means that you have to use a rich variety of simple and complex sentences and excellent use of connectors according to your style of writing, whether formal or informal. Last but not least, the writing conventions, which means that your spelling, punctuation, and your grammar should be correct, should be standard, with few errors that do not affect the meaning. So don't be overstressed if there is a mistake or two in your writing. You can also take a full mark. Okay. This is a sample informal email to your friend Kelly. Pause here, take your time to read it, study it carefully, don't memorize, you can just take notes. Okay, once you have read it, please continue to give you just a simple analysis of it. You can simply notice the features of informal language used. The direct question here, how are you? I hope you are well. The short forms, I'm writing to tell you. Informal vocab, tell instead of inform you about an event I went to. Informal phrase, instead of using I attended, okay, last week, it's called Marmi Festival. I told you that the first paragraph can be about greeting the friend and ask about his health, and then the reason for writing. You mentioned the festival you have attended with the simple definition or background idea about this event. It's a festival all about falconry. Falconry is a traditional sport here in Qatar, and more than that, this is informal linker. Instead of using furthermore or moreover, it's something I find really exciting. It's really amazing to watch, using an exclamation mark right here. The second paragraph is about the details of this event. In the third paragraph, there is the general impression. It was great because you see the falcons from close up, up to saying I had a great time and I'm very glad I went. This is a closing sentence. Perhaps you can come with me next time. And then the signing off. Okay, you can notice the content. It's all about falconry. The organization, the 3 paragraphs are very clear. The structure, simple and complex sentences, using connections. Okay, the spelling and punctuation and grammar should be standard, as we have agreed before. Here, let's review how to write a cover letter or a letter of application. The language here should be formal, so it's completely different from writing informal email. Here you have to avoid short forms and abbreviations. The first thing to do is to read the advertisement carefully and know for sure what the job is. Then identify the qualities and qualifications required for the job. You have to explain your suitability. You have to show them why you are the perfect candidate for this job. Then write in a confident manner. Describe your positive qualities and don't mention any negative qualities. Don't include any unnecessary details or information. The main difference between a letter of application and a cover letter is that the letter of application can stand alone, can stand on its own. You can apply for a job by a letter of application without a CV, but the cover letter should be enclosed with a CV. That's it. Okay? When you are given a question like this, as in the practice test, please read all details carefully. Recognize the task. You are going to write a letter of application to Mr. Ali Muhammad. So you are going to write, Dear Mr. Ali Muhammad, and when you sign off, you use this name, yours sincerely, N. Ibrahim. They want a graphic organizer, a creative one, and these are the qualities and qualifications needed in the applicant. The applicant should have a strong knowledge in Photoshop or Illustrator. He should have excellent creativity with minimum 1 year work experience. He should have positive working attitude, and the age is below 30. Enclose updated CV with 2 non-related referees. So they want 2 references from 2 different employers. Okay, let's take this model. Here you are some phrases and guidelines to help you write the letter of application. You can pause and take notes. Okay, as formal greeting, you use Dear Mr. Ali Muhammad. Pay attention to the capitals, the full stop and comma. In the opening paragraph, you mention the job you apply for according to the advertisement you have read. You can say, I am interested in applying for the job of graphic organizer as advertised, for example, on your website last Friday. Or you can use this phrase, I'm writing with regard to your advertisement on so and so about this job. Okay. As for the main part of the letter of application, it consists of 2 paragraphs. In the first one, you briefly describe your studies, qualifications, present or previous job. You can say, at present, I'm studying, for example, computer engineering, programming using Java, whatever. I have a certificate, for example, as a data engineer from Microsoft. I'm currently working for example, a local company as a programmer since 2018 because they need 1 year at least of experience, right? You can say, I have previous experience working for this or that company. In the second paragraph, you briefly describe your relevant abilities and interests and also your qualities. You can say, I am experienced in using Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. They specifically mentioned them in the advertisement, you remember. Some of my interests include using other programs like so and so. As for the qualities, you can say, I am responsible, hardworking, I am well organized, etc. And concerning the age, I'll be 25, for example, next June. Okay. In the closing paragraph, you can say, I believe I am the perfect candidate for this job for all the qualities I have just mentioned. I am available for an interview at your convenience, and my phone number is so and so as given in the advertisement. I hope my application and CV will be taken into consideration. Yours sincerely, N. Ibrahim. Okay. Number 3 is the personal narrative. Concerning the personal narrative, it's a life experience you went through and affected your life. Okay, to narrate a personal narrative, you need to use the first person, either I or we, if you have one of your brothers or friends. Here you are, the practice test question. Write a personal narrative about a difficult decision, okay, you had to take once, which affected your life a lot. Let's take this model from student book page 48 with some modification to suit our task. Dear student, in the personal narrative you are going to write 3 paragraphs. The first one is the introduction. In the introduction you do 3 things. You introduce the character or the characters, you set the scene, and then you describe the events leading up to the moment you took your decision. Here we are a model. Let's read it quickly. I came across a site called Volunteer in Ghana while shopping online. The words caught my eye. Why? Because I had always dreamt of traveling to Africa. I started reading, and the more I read, the more interested I became in that project. It turned out that Volunteer in Ghana is a non-profit organization that helps Ghanaian people earn a living by creating and selling traditional products. This is a description of the events, and then this is the moment of decision. I decided to join this organization because I was moved by the hardships they face. The second paragraph is the main part, and in the main part we describe the experience itself, and we highlight an important moment and explain its significance in the story. Then I state my feelings during this experience. Here we are. I soon flew to Cape Coast, where I would stay with some Ghanaian people and work with them on a project for 3 months. Initially, I felt frustrated because of the shortage of all basics. Nevertheless, I fought. This is the important moment in the story. I fought to accomplish my task without hesitation. In 3 months, I became immersed in Ghanaian culture. I lived and worked with Ghanaian people and developed a deep appreciation of their courage, generosity, and optimism. When the time came for me to leave, I left with a heavy heart. This is the feeling of the narrator. The third paragraph is the conclusion, and in the conclusion you mention your impression about the experience. It would be clear in the first line over here, and then explain what you learned. What you learned is underlined right here, okay, and how you changed after this experience, which would be clear in the last line right here. Okay, my experience in Ghana made me realize that we all have a responsibility in making the world a better one, or a better place. Volunteering helped me step out of my comfort zone and embrace a new perception of life. It taught me to keep an open mind. It awakened my compassion and respect for people who persevere in the face of difficulties, and increased my tolerance of cultural diversity. It helped carve a path that I intend to follow in the future. Without a doubt, I will be volunteering for many years to come. Our last task is writing an advantages and disadvantages essay. When you write advantages and disadvantages essay, you can write 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is the introduction, in which you paraphrase the information in the rubric or in the question. Okay. In the second and third paragraph, you can choose one of the outlines or one of the layouts you can see over here. You can choose to write all the advantages in one paragraph, then all the disadvantages in another paragraph, followed by the conclusion, or one advantage plus its disadvantage in a paragraph, then in the next paragraph you write another advantage plus its disadvantage, and then the conclusion. Okay, in the main body part Make sure that you use topic sentences and linking words correctly. Then you expand on your ideas by explaining them clearly and supporting them with reasons or examples. Then you write a short, balanced conclusion summarizing both sides. Okay, so simply you organize paragraphs clearly by using a topic sentence and linking words. Then you expand and support your ideas with reasons and examples. And let's take this model. Okay, here you are the practice test question, which reads, write about the advantages and disadvantages of traveling during summertime. I need to write an introduction in which I paraphrase the rubric and introduce the topic. Okay, today traveling is not only a dream as it used to be for many people in the past. Traveling has grown as more and more people can afford to travel for different reasons. To understand the impact of traveling, we need to examine both the advantages and disadvantages of traveling, especially during summer. Dear student, you can pause here to take notes about how to introduce advantages, how to add another advantage. Okay, this is the second paragraph in which I use this linking phrase to introduce the advantages. On the one hand, traveling has many advantages. One major advantage of traveling is that people who are exposed to different cultures usually become more tolerant and respectful. This is the first topic sentence. I can add more clarification to this topic sentence right here. Another positive aspect of traveling is that the local people gain more income and their economy thrives. Moreover, when summer travelers return to work or study after summer, they become more enthusiastic and their productivity increases. In the same way, in order to introduce disadvantages, you can use one of these phrases. You can pause and take notes. This is the third paragraph in which I write all the drawbacks or disadvantages. On the other hand, traveling also has some drawbacks. One major disadvantage is that many tourist websites point people to the same places and activities, creating stereotypes of the country and its people. Another negative aspect of traveling is dependence. If economy depends mainly on summer travelers, it will get very weak. Lastly, in places where there is a lot of travelers, most often the natural environment suffers as there is more pollution and animal habitats are threatened. The last paragraph is paragraph 4, in which you write a balanced conclusion. In conclusion, although traveling can promote cultural appreciation and tolerance, build local economies, and increase productivity, these are the advantages. It can also promote stereotypes, create dependent economies, and contribute to the destruction of ecosystems. These are the drawbacks. This is the reason why we must think twice about summer traveling. Okay, dear students, I hope you all pass with flying colors. This is all about the 4 writing tasks of your practice test. Thank you so much for watching this video. I wish you all success.